Should nothing of our efforts stand, no legacy survive, unless the Lord does raise the house in vain, its builders strive. To you who boast tomorrow's gain, tell me, what is your life? A mist that vanishes at dawn, all glory be to Christ.
Welcome to the Open Bible Podcast. I'm Pastor Jeremy, and along with Ethan Jones, we've been looking at a proverb a day as we seek to be conformed into the image of Christ through God's Word and by His Spirit. And today we're in chapter 9. How many of you have been invited to a formal dinner party before? Maybe it's a wedding reception or an anniversary with a meal or just a celebration among friends. Now, I like dinner parties because I like good food. And there's usually good food. Appetizers like shrimp rings, maybe an assortment of cheeses, maybe steak or roast beef with horseradish. Anyways, it feels good just to be invited to a meal like that, doesn't it? To get that invitation, that someone would think enough of you to send an invite. Well, that's what we have in Proverbs 9. It's a dinner invitation. But here's the problem. There's not just one invitation in your mailbox. There's two. And they're at the same time, on the same day. You can't go to both. And so let's read about these invitations as we pick it up in Proverbs chapter 9. Wisdom has built her house. She has hewn her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her beasts. She has mixed her wine. She has also set her table. She has sent out her young women to call from the highest places in the town. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. To him who lacks sense, she says, come, eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Leave your simple ways and live, and walk in the way of insight. Whoever corrects a scoffer gets himself abuse, and he who reproves a wicked man incurs injury. Do not reprove a scoffer, or he will hate you. Reprove a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. For by me your days will be multiplied, and years will be added to your life. If you are wise for yourself. If you scoff, you alone will bear it. The woman folly is loud. She is seductive and knows nothing. She sits at the door of her house. She takes a seat on the highest places of the town, calling to those who pass by, who are going straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And to him who lacks sense, she says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of Sheol. Chapter 9 concludes the first collection of Proverbs, and with it, we have a final appeal presented to the reader to choose wisdom, to choose life according to the character and order of Yahweh, of God, and to choose death according to the character of folly, of self, the world. So there are two paths, two dinners presented by two women personifying wisdom and folly. And we've met these women before in the previous chapters. But on the one hand, wisdom offers a lavish banquet of meat, bread, and wine, leading to life. While on the other hand, folly offers a meal of stolen or illicit food, mere water and bread leading to death. And it's a creative and compelling way to present what the author has been trying to say in these opening chapters, to sort of summarize this choice. But what I find fascinating is who the invitations are sent out to. Listen to wisdom's invitation in verse 4. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. To him who lacks sense, she says, come and eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. Now listen to who folly invites in verse 16. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And to him who lacks sense, she says, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. Both appeal to who? Both appeal to the simple and the gullible, to those who are just going straight along their way. In fact, wisdom doesn't approach the scoffer or one who mocks or the wicked. Why? Well, because they're set in their way. They will not humble themselves under any authority, especially not the Lord. But listen to how the wise are described in verses 9 and 10. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be still wiser. Teach a righteous man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is insight. The most mature and godly men and women I know are the most humble. They continue to recognize that they don't have it all together. They continue to acknowledge that there are things they don't know, things they need to learn and apply. And they have a deep awareness of their need and God's grace in their lives. And I'm talking about pastors who've served for 40 plus years. I'm talking about husbands who've been married for over half a century. I'm talking about theologians who've written books and books. There's a softness of heart, an eagerness of spirit, a desperate need to know and apply God's wisdom. And this is the posture of one who has the essential ingredient for wisdom, which is submission to the Lord, or as we have again here in verse 10, the fear of the Lord. See, this is the necessary beginning. So the invitations have been sent, and a reply is expected. There is no Facebook option to click maybe. It is attending or not attending. So what's your response? If you choose wisdom, you'll be ready to move on and to study chapters 10 through 31 in Proverbs with blessing for your soul. But to choose wisdom is for us to first acknowledge that we are foolish and simple, that we are gullible when it comes to believing the empty promises of folly in the world, that we desperately need the wisdom only God can provide. And so by grace we submit ourselves to Him and His Word. We commit to listen, to know and to seek wisdom through Jesus Christ, who to us is wisdom from God. Let me read to you the description of Jesus in Isaiah chapter 11. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. So which path will you take? Which woman will you listen to? Which meal will you sit down at? It's my prayer for you to join me and other simpletons at the table of God's wisdom, a life-giving meal available through His Son and by His Spirit. Go in peace.
Glory be to Christ our King. All glory.